Hello everybody, this is Sci-Fi Junk yet again on a lovely, wonderful Saturday afternoon. And if you guys have kept track of the news here in Oklahoma, at least within the last couple weeks, you would have seen where caregivers in a nursing home and a caretaker, which I guess that's what the news is deciding to deem us family people, since us family people that happen to take care of their own relatives happen to be called caretakers instead of caregivers, even though there's the Rise Caregiver or Rise Family Caregiver Act. So, anyway, like I said, if you had kept track with the news, you would have seen where a number of caregivers in nursing homes and family caregivers in families have done some very questionable things. Now, for me, as a caregiver for my mother, I take the job probably a little more seriously than I should. Because, I practically do everything except for, forcing her to take her meds, escorting her to the bathroom, making sure she can actually go to the bathroom, there's like a handful of things that I really don't have to do, but I do practically everything else. Um, what gets on my nerves is when people take advantage of the person they're giving care to, regardless if it's another family member or if it's somebody in a nursing home. Like I said before, I do take this job probably a little bit more seriously than most people, to the fact that I'm actually happy with eating noodles and MREs versus, eating steaks and stuff like that. Because, my mother happens to be on food stamps and we go for the cheapest thing we can get. Matter of fact, she often looks forward for the meat sale here at a local grocery store that we go to, which gets a crap ton of, I consider them like low end steaks that are fairly thick and all that stuff, and then corn dogs and a couple other things. And then I run to get romaine noodles, and we attempt to live off of that until next month. Now, as you guys very well know, caregivers don't get paid at all. We don't hardly even get recognized, even on the federal level or local level or state level. We are lucky to be given any kind of recognition whatsoever. And with what has been made in the news, it puts some of us that actually take this job rather seriously. It kind of makes us all look like we're bad people and we're just out to drain money from the people that we're taking care of. I happen to not do that. Matter of fact, when my mother finally got Social Security, because she's been going, when she first tried to go for Social Security, they told her no and all this other stuff and blah blah blah, and then she ended up getting advocacy group, and it took them I don't know, maybe another 3 to 6 months to even get anything. They did eventually get her some Social Security stuff, and that's where my job as a caregiver got a little hard for the first 3 or 4 months, because I had to repeatedly tell my mother that it was her money. See, the marriage that she had for her last, with her last husband, he always made her ask about everything relating to money, even when it came to bills. And his famous words were, "No, we don't have the money for that." So I actually had to tell her for at least 3 or 4 months of her getting Social Security that it was her money. Matter of fact, when her last husband left, within, I'm gonna say within 48 hours. She says it was close, so sooner than that. I emailed the local DHS office, which isn't so local, and conveniently is closed down now. But anyway, I emailed them, and they send forms. I filled it out. I went ahead and literally, because it was one of those PDFs that you could just type in information and everything, and I asked her all the stuff relating to her. I told her that I need you to come in here and make sure I filled your information part out right. Printed it out back when we actually had ink for the printer here. I made her sign it, and I again made sure that she saw that it was her part was right, my part was right, and everything else looked like it was good to go. And send it off to the DHS office. Again, for the first couple months of that, I had to tell her it was her food stamps, her Social Security money, her stuff. So that's what, that's how I take being a caregiver. I take being a caregiver rather fairly seriously. To the point now that I'm having to use my phone as a freaking alarm clock to remind me when her meds are due. And when that happens, I cook the food, and whatever food we happen to have that she wants to eat. Sometimes she can be a little on the picky side of life, but anyway, and I don't leave her alone until her meds are taken, until she actually physically takes her meds. Sometimes I'm sure it gets on her nerves, and it has been a little lax. I do leave every now and then and hope she actually remembers to take her meds. And she's been getting a little bit better at that. Probably because she doesn't want to drive me up the wall like she normally does. Being her son and a caregiver gets kind of hard. But anyway, but to hear all these lovely family caregivers, see, I prefer the term caregiver. Granted, I don't have no medical training, and this year that actually happens to be one of my New Year's resolutions, and I'm the type of guy that does not do New Year's resolutions, and have never done one until this year. Anyway, when people happen to take this job not as seriously as I do get rather perturbed, because it gives all of us that actually do take this job very seriously. It makes us look really bad. It really does. Because it hurts me to see that there are some families that will let their parents die at home, still take their money, and do whatever the hell they want with it. Excuse my language. Now, as for the nursing home, if you've seen the news about the nursing home, it's rather questionable, which is one of the reasons why I don't like and have fought heavily against my mother going to a nursing home. And it's not because my grandma died in a nursing home. It's because all the other stuff that I've heard bad about nursing homes. Now, I do know not all nursing homes are bad. They just happen to be understaffed and underfunded for some parts. And I won't get into what I have seen in nursing homes here recently. That may be another video altogether. In fact, I am trying to calm down from the fact of what my fiance has learned about her deal with the nursing home. It's more of a state that convinced her into it instead of the nursing home and doctors and nurses and everything else did. But the problem is, she's in a nursing home, and it takes quite a bit for me to, believe it or not, it does take quite a bit of me to actually stay calm, cool, collective every time I go to see her in a nursing home. And she really has no clue of how much I try to stay in control. But anyway, this is more of a video about caregivers and how they make all of us look, when one does something wrong, makes all of us look bad. That's how it works. Just like when it comes to one nursing home, it makes all the other nursing homes go bad. You know, look bad anyway. So if you're going to be a family caregiver or family caretaker, whichever term you prefer to use, when you become it, you need to take the job seriously, because you are taking care of a family member. And if you don't have any medical training, then you might very well need to find funding for it, because the state, the federal, and even local governments will not help you with that. Even though there's laws and acts and programs and everything else, there is no help for you whatsoever to get any medical training. I know this with personal experience. No matter who you ask, they'll say no, there's nothing for you for that. So you need to understand that you are on your own, and you need to be strong enough mentally. Very well, you might need to be strong enough physically, depending on if you're needing to pick up your family member or help her or him with a number of things. And this job is not a joke. You can't just laugh it off. You can't just do whatever the fuck you want, excusing my language. You may actually, in fact, need to come up with your own coping mechanisms. Mine actually happens to be... Actually, I have pretty much 3. If I actually had money, there would have been a 4th, and it would only be at night. So mainly, I stream. I can't do that right now because AT&T is starting to be a butthole, and I'll make another video. I'll make a whole new video about that later. Yeah, that's AT&T screws people over too much. But anyway, so I stream. I make YouTube videos. Play games. Primarily now games that actually don't have to have internet, like Fallout Shelter and all that stuff. Minecraft, you know, all sorts of stuff. So those 3 things are the main things I do to cope with being a caregiver, to deal with being a caregiver. The 4th one would be to drink, but it would be at night when I go to sleep, if I actually had any alcohol whatsoever. But yeah, you have to, in a way, develop coping mechanisms. I'm sure I'm butchering that word, but anyway, you have to deal with things. You have to come up with things to deal with being a caregiver. Now, mind you, I actually do work as a freelance IT guy, but since I am a caregiver, I do happen to stay close to the house. I try to limit how long I'm away from the house. I mean, it's bad enough I live in government housing and I have to, in a way, put my caregiver duties on hold every now and then to pass inspections, which, you know, kind of sucks balls. But then again, when you have no money and you live in government housing, you can't really do too much. Because the government don't care about you being a caregiver, and it doesn't care about the person you're giving care to. Anyway, so yeah, I do happen to have a job, another job that I attempt to make or earn funds with. I don't call it money anymore, I call it funds, with all the information that I've found about how money works. So, and I'm lucky to get work, maybe an hour's worth of work within a month's time. Now, if I'm lucky, I happen to get maybe 2 hours worth of work within a month's time. And almost lost that customer by the means of me doubling my rate from $15 to $30 an hour. Excuse me. Yeah, I almost lost a customer because of money, which happens to be the very thing that we need, that the world revolves around. Kind of sucks. Anyway, so I don't just sit here and wait to be paged all the time. I do actually have, or at least try to make funds in other ways, because the government, and it doesn't matter which level of government, does not want to recognize caregivers by any means. Let's go with the DHS. DHS calls me a representative. They don't even call me a caregiver. Social Security Administration doesn't even acknowledge my existence in this world. According to HUD, I am just a I guess I'm just a tenant, according to HUD. Yep. So I mean, those are the main government entities, bodies, agencies, whatever you can call them. That's how they view me. So, I do sincerely apologize. I did not intend to make this a very long video. But the point that I'm trying to make is that as a caregiver, as a primary family caregiver, we have a job. We do that job 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no vacation, no paid time off, no leave, no medical, no sick days, no whatever, no vacation. Matter of fact, this weekend happens to be I think President's Day is tomorrow, and I don't even get time off for that. That's what entails about when it comes to being a caregiver. You're always working. And it doesn't matter if the government is going on or not. If the government shuts down, you're still working. If the government opens up, you're still working. You can't just stop working as a caregiver And people need to realize that, I mean, yeah, I do have anger issues. I have a number of issues that I try to hide from everybody. And yeah, so when you see somebody or hear somebody talk about being a caregiver, you need to understand what they're going through. You need to understand what they're doing. And you need to understand how serious they're taking the job as a caregiver. Because if they're not taking it as seriously as I am, which I do take it probably a little on the overboard side of seriousness, but then maybe you can get that person that's in the role of caregiver. Maybe you can give that person a little help. Now, granted, not a lot of people want to do the whole financial help thing, and I can't really blame them. But maybe you could help them brighten up their day, give them a joke. I mean, yeah, they'll probably be a little on the PO'd side of life because they're having to do all sorts of stuff that they really don't want to do, or don't seem to think that, or might not seem to think that it's their job to do. But just help them out a little bit. That's really the main point that I'm trying to come across. And those of you that happen to be working in government agencies, you need to understand, we don't get days off. We work regardless if you are or not. And it doesn't matter if you're a senator, it doesn't matter if you're a caseworker, it doesn't matter what you are. You may get time off, you may get holiday pay, you may get all this other lovely, wonderful stuff. You may even get insurance. See, that's another thing caregivers don't get. We don't get insurance. So you need to understand that we're doing a job most likely better than you are when it comes to taking care of our relatives. Matter of fact, I am a one-man army when it comes to being a caregiver. So, again, I do sincerely apologize. It was not intent to make this video that long. So, until next time, don't have too much fun.